Jonathan Miller was an ordinary 13-year-old kid. School was never great for him. It felt like 8 hours of prison. He was short and got picked on, but it was always manageable because at least when he got home, he could be free, playing video games, watching anime. One day during his third period English class, his classmate showed him a picture on his phone. He gets a panic attack and is excused from class. He doesn't show up to school for the next week, pretending to be sick. He tries playing video games and watching anime like usual, but none of it is enjoyable anymore. The next week he returns and everyone in his class is staring at him, laughing. This continues day after day as the laughs turn into verbal and physical abuse. What was on the cell phone? His mom's OnlyFans. How do you be happy? Can you put on a magic flying ring and then you'll be happy? Maybe, but probably not. I mean, you can fly all you want, but it's not going to change your life on the ground. Maybe taking cute little Polaroid pictures, maybe that'll make you happy. Yeah, probably not, your phone can take pictures anyways. Maybe a flower? Nah. Maybe a talking pen? Definitely not. Maybe somebody that you actually care for. Takopi's original sin follows the story of an alien that comes from the Happy Planet, a place with hyper-futuristic technology and the goal to spread happiness across the universe. The alien lands on Earth and is hunted by animal control because he's literally just a sentient octopus. Hungry, cold, and lonely, he escapes into this pile of pipes where he finds a savior in Shizuka, a middle school girl who gives him some bread and names him Takopii after takoyaki, the Japanese octopus balls. Now that Takopii is saved, he can continue on with his journey of spreading happiness, and he decides to start with Shizuka to repay his debt. There's only one problem though.
She's suicidal.
Takopii doesn't understand why. As the wise Norm Macdonald once said,
when people commit suicide, no one ever understands. You know what I mean? People commit suicide, people go, I don't understand why. And I go, you don't? Where you live in a cotton candy house or something? What the fuck?
Yes, he literally comes from a cotton candy planet where their only understanding of happiness is that if you're smiling a lot, that means you're happy. And if you're having a fight with someone, all you have to do is talk things out. Basically, it's how a 5-year-old views mental health. But Takopii still wanted to repay Shizuka for saving him. He wanted to learn more about her. He wanted to make her smile more. He wanted to know why she would kill herself. Luckily, turns out the Polaroid camera that he used to take pictures actually has the ability to turn back time to the point the photo was taken. So Takopii goes back in time with the goal of finding out as much about Shizuka as he can. Starting out with the hell of the place she goes every single day. School. As you might have been able to guess, she gets bullied. Her classmate Marin's dad is cheating on her mom with Shizuka's mom because, well, she's a prostitute. Which explains why Shizuka is alone and bullied by the rest of her classmates because, yeah, her mom basically does OnlyFans. So Takopii, disguising himself as a flower, decides to help her out in every way possible. Starting out, he memorizes the answers to the homework so that she knows what to say when she gets called on, which kind of only ends up pissing off Marin even more. At lunch, she gets bullied for not eating her food, and so Takopii literally inhales her lunch. But he ends up kind of overdoing it, and yeah, she gets even more pissed. Marin tells Shizuka that she wants to meet up with her during lunch, and obviously Shizuka doesn't want to go because she knows she's gonna get beat up. Takopi's 5-year-old brain thinks that they're just going to talk things out, and so he disguises himself as Shizuka and goes to meet up with Marina. And yeah, he gets beat up. Marina basically treats Shizuka as a subhuman animal, being unbelievably cruel. This is the first time that Takopii learns that this isn't a cotton candy normal relationship. Shizuka goes to school every day in fear of Marina. You wonder how it's possible for Marina to be so cruel, and then you see her come home from school only to find out her dad has once again left her for Shizuka's mom. She looks over her shoulder through the window and sees In that moment, she decides to take away the one last thing that was keeping her happy. And so she creates a ploy to get Chappie put down. Takopii knows that this can't happen because if it does, she'll have no reason to keep on living. So he reverses time and tries again and again and again, over and over, but nothing works. It seems that it's inevitable. Every time it ends up this way. But then Takopii gets an idea. What if Marna just didn't exist? From this point, there is no turning back. Takopi's camera breaks and things just get darker and darker. Most of the manga after this is spent with Shizuka, Takopii, and Azuma, another classmate who struggles with the unrealistic expectations of his mother and the shadow of his genius brother. Yet he confides in Shizuka and Takopii, and together they deal with the consequences of Marin's death, and somehow together they have some of the happiest moments of their lives. Drama, psychological, sci-fi are the genres that this manga is described as on AniList, but I think a more fitting descriptor is tragedy. I'm sure from the thumbnail you were expecting me to talk about a horror-infested manga filled with nightmare-inducing Stephen King monsters, but to be honest, I think that this manga is scarier than any of that stuff. Beat and then rest, beat and then rest. This story is constantly throwing things at you, and it is never boring. You always know that something will happen whether you want it to or not, and it leaves you glued to the pages as you watch Shizuka delve deeper and deeper into chaos. I think exploring how twisted the human psyche can become is some of the most interesting stuff handled in fiction. It kind of reminded me of the Joker, which is definitely not where I stole this analogy. Seeing someone who gets abused and beaten down by the world around them, that they have no choice but to become monsters. Seeing some of the horrific things that Shizuka goes on to do in this manga, she's probably worse than most of the worst criminals out there, but seeing her backstory, you can't help but be empathetic towards her. And although I wish they left the ending more open to interpretation, by the time you reach it, you're left wanting more despite everything that's happened. It's only 16 chapters, but it feels like it goes by in 6, yet at the same time it covers more ground than most manga that are 10 times its length. Ultimately, the story of Takopi's original sin doesn't end in tragedy, and sends us with the message that if we just have someone to share our struggles with, all of this can be prevented. Over the course of the story, Takopii comes to realize what he's truly on the planet for, and that happiness can only be achieved when you have a true understanding of that person. And the story at the start of this video, well, that was just based off a Reddit post which was probably fake.